Hey, Inklets, it's Adele from Let's Get Inkie, and I've got a little art journal process video for you today. I've been a bit MIA. Now, if you don't follow me on my main channel, which is Inkie Quill, you might not know, but I've been really sick with this pregnancy with my kidneys and things. So I haven't been making or recording a lot of stuff, but I'm back. And we're going to get a little bit messy today. So this is my Use It Up journal, which is a Dilutions creative journal in the A5 size. And all I do is I put my leftover paint, my leftover stencil modeling paste stuff, and I just smash it in here. There is a journal flip through in 2 parts that I have done previously on this channel. I'll link them down below if you want to see those. So on this page, there was already some modeling paste, and I'm just adding a bit of gesso because although the creative journal, Dilutions journal pages are nice paper, they're nice and thick, I don't really like the way that the paint soaks through sometimes. And this journal is a messy one. So if things get through onto the page beforehand, I don't care. It's just a bit of a fun, messy, get your creative juices flowing journal. So all I did was I put some baking paper on the pages in behind and in front, but you will soon see that I get too messy and it doesn't make a difference. So I'm adding just some water. Oh, camera, what you doing? I'm just adding some water because I'm going to do a bit of a blue drippy thing. And you saw before the colors that I was using if you wanted to pause it and see which ones they are. I'm just spraying down my mist, and this is one of my favorite techniques. And I get it all over my hands. I can never spray without it getting everywhere. It's usually blue, and it's usually the night before I have work the next day, and the Dilutions ink doesn't like to come off. Look at how pretty that is. You cannot fail this. It's the easiest technique ever. You can get it everywhere like I have, but you can't fail it. So because it already had that modeling paste, which is, if you don't know, a thick, like chunky paste that you can put through stencils, because it already had the modeling paste on there, well, look at this. Del being resourceful and using her leftover ink. Oh, because it already had the modeling paste on there, the ink has kind of run through the gaps and those polka dots on the right-hand page, which you can see. And luckily, the next page is blue anyway, and it doesn't really matter. So this is a fantastic technique. Even if you don't have mist, you can water down like acrylic paint or watercolor paint and have a go at this yourself. It's just a simple way to get color on the page and kind of blend it in together. Dried it with my heat gun, but I wasn't quite liking how densely blue some of those bits were. And because the mist that I use, the Dilutions and the Distress Stains, are water soluble, if you sprinkle some water on your hand and drippy drop it all over your page, leave it for about 30 seconds and then mop it up, it does this beautiful speckly pattern, kind of like if you were to shake bleach onto clothing. It takes the color away. And I really like it because it makes it look like you've done a lot of layers when you really haven't, and it's super lazy. So I didn't like the way that the paint was kind of splotchy in that center crease. So I decided to add this thick washi tape. Who knows where it's from? It's kind of like duct tapey. It could be an old one from Hip Kit Club, I think. Yes, I don't use it very often because it's so giant. But I just thought it would give the page a bit more stability. And it's blue, it works. So I decide what am I adding now? I did this page a little while ago, and I recently just rediscovered it in my folder of videos to edit. So I'm adding I'm blending it in, and I don't think this works very well at all. Trying to blend in that tape a little bit, but no such luck. And I really, really recommend, if you're new to mixed media, of having 2 art journals. Why don't you have one that you do all your pretty stuff in, and then have one like this where you use up your leftover paint and you just get messy. It has no expectations. You just slap stuff on. Stick and plonk is my favorite method of filling up this book. I just put some glue on something and I plonk it in. Like this picture. It was sitting in a magazine that I liked, so I just cut it out and plonked it on the page there. got no real significance. It's just nice. You could do this same thing if you didn't want to buy a proper art journal. You could do this same thing in just a basic composition exercise book. So whatever you have, and I do get blue on her face later on, which you will see. Whatever you have, I just recommend having a book like this, because it not only does it not waste your paint when you have leftover paint from other projects, but you can see I'm covering up that paint splodge with some tiny words now. But it also, it's just very freeing to whip this open and have a bit of a go when you feel like doing something. And the small scale is also really helpful too. My other art journals are A4 size, which are a lot bigger. And I often feel a little bit more, not nervous, but a bit more on guard, I guess you could say, when I do them, because they're bigger and there's more expectation and they're the pretty ones. Whereas this, I just do whatever I want. So there are flip throughs, like I said, of what I've done so far in this book. It's in 2 parts, so make sure you watch both parts. And I'm just using my black Posca paint pen, which is a bit of a tongue twister, to just write a nice quote off Pinterest that I found. And that's my journaling for this page. I decided to do it sideways because why not? Does anyone else break black Posca pens like I do? I have the impatience. I have really good patience when it comes to life. I think you have to be a primary school teacher. But when it comes to wet paint, patience is negative 50. Because I just cannot wait for paint to dry, and I seem to always ruin them. I'll learn my lesson one day, but today's not that day. So I'm using my, is it Stabilio all pencil, which is a black pencil where you can make it watery. I guess that's the most technical term for it. Had a bit of a fight with my paintbrush then, obviously. Maybe it was too small. So you can see I got more blue paint on her face. It's going successfully, but I'm not freaking out because that's what this book's all about. Being messy, just getting stuff done and letting out a bit of my creative juices. It would have been a good idea not to use a paper towel that already had blue on it on a wet surface. That would have been a really smart thing for Adele to think, but she didn't. She didn't at all. So now I'm grabbing, this is a bottle of Black India ink, which I got off eBay. I don't have the link anymore, but I just typed in Black India ink and it came up, and I'm fighting severely with it as well. Decided to forego the dropper that came with it and get this paintbrush, which isn't really doing much either. But I felt like it just needed a bit of black splattering. And this layout really, including the heat gun drying time, it probably only took half an hour. It was just a nice little simple one. And you can see I'm just getting stubborn and making some of my own splatters, which I like to do when the paintbrush doesn't agree with me. So let me know in the comments below if you have a use it up journal or what you art journal in. I would love to see. So I have my A4 creative journal. I have one for faces. I have another one for just other pages, but I've only done 2 pages in there. I've got this use it up journal, which is A5, and it's almost finished, which is exciting. I've got my junk journal, which I'm going to film a flip through of very soon. I've got a couple of process videos for that. They're the 4 art journals that I have. Yes. So here's a bit of a close-up look. I didn't want the quote to really stand out, so I'm okay with the gold hiiiii shine, just kind of splurtering it out a little bit and blurring out what it actually says. But it was really fun to do. So please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me when you do. And let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see some more art journal process videos. Bye!